Well, speaking of people who usually do a great job but are hamstrung, hampered, or handicapped by the environment they find themselves in, I think MJF's triumphant string of in-ring promos came to a crashing end here. He comes out, he throws coffee or something on Tony Schiavone. He knocks the people a little bit. He did say he wanted Jungle Boy in an echo chamber so he could bore himself to death listening to himself. And I wrote here as this is going on, MJF is great. What does he have to talk about? A forced story that Tony Khan wanted to tell because he decided he was going to tell it 4 years ago. And he's trying so hard to figure out some way MJF is to sell that these other three are on his level and somehow pay-per-view attractions while trying to be a heel and say they're not on his level. And then he's sick of the lack of competition and competency in that company and respect for what he's done. And he's doing the contracts coming up and wants to leave again deal, which that story in itself, and with all of the other things that were going on with MJF at one time, that may have been great, but I think that may be a rickety bridge that they do not want to tread anymore, that people are unhappy here at the incompetency and that they want to leave for bigger companies. But then whether he's going to take his ball and go home or what, he's doing this promo, he's trying too hard to get this fucking issue over. Because apparently he, like everybody else, realizes it's not. And then Darby's music plays, and I'm thinking, my God, it's 56 minutes into the show. They got 4 minutes to the top of the hour. They're peaking early. They mismanaged their time. They are not going to get Darby and MJF in the ring face-to-face at the 9 o'clock hour with anything interesting because they're too early. And that's where Darby goes on his spiel, which works for him because look at him. He looks like a former homeless person that's made a lot of questionable decisions in his life. And you could identify with him and his, deprived upbringing or whatever the fuck. If Sammy just did his gimmick. But Darby now talks about when I graduated high school, I did what everybody wanted me to do, and I ended up cleaning toilets. Well, maybe instead of graduating high school, you should have bothered to learn how to get a fucking job. I don't know what to tell you. That's what I would say, but I know there's people that are identifying with this motherfucker. I was making quite a comfortable fucking income when I was still in school through the wrestling business without having to take any bumps, but nevertheless. He said, I lived in my car and I cleaned toilets, but AEW saved me. So now I can live how I want to live with Travis Pastrami and I can climb Mount Everest. And he's doing the same thing Sammy was just trying to do, appeal to all the losers and bums that would look up to him for sleeping in his fucking car. Brian, would you not turn to crime before you had to sleep in your car, just as an aside?
I slept in my car a few times.
Did you really?
Yeah, I parked out in Jones Beach, slept in the car.
Well, but that was on purpose. You had a place to go.
I was hiding from the cops. No, I had a place to go. I wanted to sleep on the beach.
Okay, well, he was talking about doing it not as an option, but as a necessity.
Yeah,
Nevertheless.
I had an option.
And again, so Darby says he's going to win with a headlock takeover, and MJF responds by kicking him in the balls. And then Sammy's music plays, and he hits the ring, and MJF runs off. But as MJF is in the entranceway, Jungle Boy's music plays. Well, now MJF is trapped. You got Jungle Boy on the top of the stage, 50 feet on one side of him. And you got Sammy in the ring on the other side of him, 50 feet. And obviously, he can't just turn and hop over the rail and leave through the fire exit. So he has to try to run and hit Jungle Boy with the belt. But Jungle Boy ducks. So now MJF, the world champion, is having to do duck spots on the apron with this fucking clown. Jungle Boy ducks and MJF turns right around. He was running away, right? When Jungle Boy ducked, MJF was running up toward the exit. But instead, he turns around and runs right back at Jungle Boy so Jungle Boy can clothesline him. And then Jungle Boy picks up the world title belt and stands there like the poster boy for Propofol with no expression on his face, no movement, not firing anybody up, not excited, not energetic. And as a result of that, the fans were not, underline not, losing their minds over any of this. And the whole thing was over by 9 o'clock. So the top of the hour saw a pre-tape with Wardlow and Arn Anderson in the back. Your thoughts on this preposterous attempt at trying to make this match interesting?
I mean, I don't think it's all MJF's fault. I mean, when you said it's the first in-ring promo that you don't like, I mean...
that's what I'm saying. They sent him out there with nothing.
It's all on his shoulders.
He's got nothing to talk about. He's got nothing that nobody cares, and he's trying too hard because he knows it.
You know, instead of this being the first Wives Club feud, of like the three enemies who get together because they mutually hate MJF. It should have been, what was that movie, Loverboy? Where he's fucking everyone's girl, and they're all mad at him, and they go after him for that. Because you could at least understand that. None of this makes any sense. I don't want to hear any more about anyone in high school. I can't think of any wrestlers when I was growing up. I mean, we knew Randy Savage played minor league baseball, and Hulk Hogan was a bass player. But I didn't know what anyone was like in high school. Or the trials and tribulations of dealing with bosses, or any of these things. We know it about all four people in this match. All four of them talk about, like, being teenagers still. We need to get past that. I also don't want to hear any more of the whole AEW saved me. I mean, maybe that's true. Do it on a podcast interview or something, but that doesn't need to be in the ring and on this show in front of the crowd.
So that reinforces everybody's opinion in the viewing audience that, oh, well, all these jackoffs must be a bunch of fucking unemployed, homeless losers, and they pick them up and teach them how to flip and send them out to the ring. That's what they're making wrestlers out to be.
This feud has been poorly put together. You know, the good thing is Darby has proven himself to be good on the mic. The bad thing is I think that the more comfortable he gets, he's talking too much.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's going to be a big help. Where they go with Sammy after this will be interesting because, again, he's been a heel babyface. We'll see what happens, but...
Boy, if they wanted to elevate Sammy, I wonder why his former boss, Chris Jericho, didn't put him over on his way out of that group, because obviously he's now not affiliated with that group anymore. He hadn't been seen with them. He's not involved in their current activities. Maybe Jericho might have slipped him over on the way out, but no, that would have gotten in the way of something.
Can you imagine if MJF, after he beat Danielson, all of a sudden he's out there doing a promo and Sammy comes in there out of nowhere and just goes after him? This guy was hitting on my girl in the back when I was in the ring. Same thing with Jungle Boy. This guy was hitting on my girl when I was in the ring. Darby will make up a girl. We'll get some girl, put some makeup on her. People will believe it. You know, paint a skull on her face.
Or Travis Pastrami.
Like, that would have been something at least you could understand why everyone's trying to get to him and everything that's going on. Not that you don't understand the motivation, but no one cares about the motivation here. It's been poorly done. A waste of MJF.
Well, nevertheless,